The city of Sienna in Italy is one of the most beautiful places in the world. But because of building regulations, it is now practically illegal to design cities like this. Sienna, like many old cities, wasn't really built at all, in the sense that one person or a group of people planned it out. Such places are the natural result of centuries of construction, expansion, and development. So to build a town like Sienna is by definition not possible. But they do have certain features of urban design which could be replicated. Narrow or winding streets, varied elevation, specific building materials, architectural styles, density, etc. But building codes make such replication very difficult, if not impossible. And then again, such codes are much older than you might think. In the Code of Hammurabi, a set of laws promulgated by the king of Babylon in 1750 BC, there were very strict rules regarding construction. For example, if a builder constructed a house that later collapsed and caused the death of the owner, the builder would be put to death. The Code of Hammurabi mandated that builders use sturdy materials and follow specific guidelines to ensure the safety and stability of their constructions. And violation of these regulations could result in severe punishment, including fines, beatings, or even death. In ancient Rome, the maximum height of apartment blocks was set by Augustus at 68 feet, and then later at 58 feet. This was to mitigate the major risks of collapse and fire. There were also regulations about how far apart buildings had to be from each other. In 1666, the Great Fire of London destroyed huge swaths of the city. And to ensure such a catastrophe would never happen again, a range of strict new building regulations were introduced, whether about street width or fire-resistant construction methods and materials. In the weeks after the fire, many homeless residents left the city for the towns surrounding it. The government considered it crucial to begin reconstruction before the population of London dispersed too far. Firefighting apparatuses were improved, including the introduction of fire hydrants and hand-pumped fire engines. Fire insurance companies were also established, providing a system for fire prevention and compensation. These developments marked a significant shift in urban planning and safety regulations. The Great Fire of London served as a catalyst for change and led to the implementation of rigorous building standards and fire prevention strategies. London became a model for other cities to learn from and adapt similar measures to protect their own communities. So building codes have ancient heritage, and they're usually focused on safety, but some of them are aesthetic. In Austin, for example, there are legally protected views of the Texas state capitol, which no structure is allowed to block. In Paris, which also has height regulations, you'll notice that many of its buildings look incredibly similar. And when the city was rebuilt in the 19th century, Baron Haussmann, who oversaw the project, imposed rules about the color, material, and facade design of all new buildings. This uniformity was intended to create a cohesive and harmonious aesthetic throughout the city. As a result, you'll find rows upon rows of buildings with matching exteriors and architectural styles. However, despite the strict regulations, there are still some subtle variations that make each building unique. For example, you might notice different ornamental details or variations of window designs. Overall, the architectural consistency gives Paris its iconic and instantly recognizable skyline. Other building regulations are nearly exclusively about safety nor aesthetics, but are concerned with what we might call public well-being. The only reason developers don't build over public parks in cities is because they are not legally allowed to do so. Codes can also have surprising consequences. The unique character of many cities is a direct result of regulation rather than any special aesthetic considerations. Amsterdam's famously thin houses resulted from taxes based on the width of a building's canal frontage. Yet for all their importance, utility, and incidental shaping of regionalism, building codes often have a negative impact on the urban environment. Working within a set of limits is good for creativity, but too many are stifling for architecture, boring at best and ugly at worst. Zoning laws, which regulate the purpose or type of buildings in specified areas, can be very useful, prevent factories being built in residential areas, for example, but equally they can be disastrous, leading to segregation, distorted housing prices, and urban stagnation. Zoning laws also prevent cities from becoming mixed use, where residential, commercial, cultural, and administrative buildings are all mixed in together. It is by virtue of being mixed use that many towns and cities feel so vibrant and are such pleasant places to live. And sometimes the granular detail of building code seems to go too far. In the UK, for example, non-ground floor windows must be at least 1.1 meters from the floor, while plug sockets must be between 450 and 1200 millimeters from the floor. And the list goes on and on. And so returning to where we started, any number of rules relating to fire safety, traffic circulation, ease of access, hygiene, etc. would be breached by the winding jumble of Sienna's charming streets, which is also true of the tiered houses of Velika Tarnovo in Bulgaria, and the monastery village castle of Mont Saint Michel in France, or the mud-brick skyscrapers of Shibam in Yemen. By law, it's no longer possible to build such towns regardless of the desire or ability to do so. And yet with our much improved technologies, engineering, and construction methods, it has surely never been more possible to build similar towns or developments with all the necessary regulatory standards in place. Urban models around the world are just waiting to be replaced. From Copenhagen's bike-friendly streets to Tokyo's efficient public transportation system, these models offer valuable insights for urban planners. Singapore's Smart Cities initiatives, Barcelona's pedestrian-focused urban planning are some critical examples to follow. The goal is to make cities more livable, environmentally friendly, and have inclusive spaces for their residents. Building codes are important, but taken too far, when created and applied too strictly, building codes inhibit creativity, impose standardization, and prevent us, legally, from building the kinds of cities that many people might actually want to live and work in. Alright, so that's going to be it guys. Please subscribe for more Squalid Suburbs, and thank you for watching.